has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Hour 3 on a thirsty Thursday of C2C. Great to have everybody with us on our streaming side, on TV stations, all of our affiliates on radio, on terrestrial, and on satellite radio. Don't forget to get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android. It's free. You heard me. And you can follow your favorite hosts like Carver High. And you get all the stories, news, highlights, videos, stories, everything you need, including in-game odds. You can watch the network on the app. You can listen to the network on the app. I was just talking to a guy today on the phone about the network. He's like, man, the network's on everything. I said, yeah, but you can chase all of that. It's just everywhere, but you can have it on your phone in 5 seconds. Boom, click watch, you're watching. Like, you can search high and low. We're on every streaming service in the world, every one of them, and we're the king of all of them. And then all of a sudden you got an app where you just press one button, boom. That's like pretty easy to me. I said, just do that. You'll love it.
You should love it. You should absolutely have it already. There's no question about that. Let's get to tonight. Actually, before we get to tonight's games, the home run derby field is now set, Scotty, for, of course, Monday night in Arlington, Texas. Here is the field. Pete Alonso, of course, is back in. We were just talking about him. He is the favorite. Also going to be down there, we have Marcell Ozuna, it's plus 375. Adolis Garcia was added. Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt Jr., Teoscar Hernandez will be involved. Jose Ramirez and Alec Boehm, the long shot there at 25-1. Alonso going for his third title in the home run derby.
So what do you think, Mike? Are you willing to take a stab on any of them, like Gunnar Henderson or
yes,
or even J-Ram? Your boy in Cleveland, he hits tons of home runs. From both sides of the plate, he can hit them.
The two guys that I will absolutely take a shot with on Monday night, and I want to get him now because I feel like the odds will change, is Bobby Witt Jr. at 625 and Teoscar Hernandez at 10-1. That dude can hit bombs, Teoscar Hernandez. So I'm going to want a piece of him. I'm going to take those two guys as kind of more of a long shotty.
Multiple silver sluggers. He's been great with the Dodgers. I think he's been one of the best players in baseball this year.
He has. Of course, we're going to have we'll spend a lot of time with that on Monday, since that will be the featured attraction Monday night. It's going to be the Home Run Derby and some Summer League for us. So we will absolutely get back to some of that.
That's enough for me.
That's enough. Let's get to tonight now. The Dodgers and the Phillies will finish off this series in Philadelphia with the Phillies going for the sweep. Now, Landon Knack was the scheduled starter for the Dodgers tonight. He is still going to pitch, Scotty, just so you know. Landon Knack, but he's not going to start the game. Dave Roberts is going to have Anthony Banda start. He's one of their lefty relievers. Why is Roberts doing this? Because he wants Banda to face Schwarber and Harper in the first inning, and then Landon Knack will come in from the second inning on. So a little trickery from Dave Roberts tonight with the lineup. Aaron Nola is going to go for the Phillies, who are minus 155, plus 125 for the Dodgers, and a 9.5.
Nola's been great. He's already got 10 wins. The Phillies have owned him. How do I get off the Phillies? I'm going to take him on the run line at plus 130.
Wow, Phillies tonight. I like it. Cubs and the Orioles, another team looking for the sweep. The Cubs in Camden. They will have the Steel Mill going. Justin Steele, Albert Suarez goes for the Orioles right now. Minus 135 for them, plus $1.15 for the Cubbies, and an 8.5.
God, I mean, I got to bet on the Cubs, don't I? They've kicked their ass 2 nights in a row, and Steele's pitched great lately, and they're finally winning games that he starts. Plus 122. I could probably get it even higher than that. Why not go for it?
Yankees in the at the Trop against the Rays again tonight in Tampa. Nasty Nestor Cortez against Shane Baz tonight. Minus 115 for the Yankees, minus 105 for Tampa, and a flat 8.
Yeah, I'm betting on Tampa just because Nasty gets lit on the road.
he gets lit on the road, and it seems like almost the entire team usually hits him fairly well. So I think that's a good enough reason for me. In fact, kind of like the over tonight, Scotty, in the game. They've been unders, played some unders the last few nights. I think that they can go over tonight with those two guys on the hill. A's and the Red Sox at Fenway. Luis Medina and Tanner Houck are the starters for this one. Red Sox heavy lumber minus 225, plus $1.80 for the A's and a 9.5.
Yeah, the funky cold Medina coming into Fenway to pitch against Houck. Houck's an all-star. I got to go Houck. I don't like that juice. It's just all over the place. So I got to go run line, and I got to go over.
Not a lot of experience on the mound tonight in Houston for either team. Roddery Munoz goes for the Fish. We told you how awful he's been before. Jake Bloss is going for the Astros tonight, who are minus 175, plus $1.45 for the Fish and an 8.5.
As hot as the Astros have been over the last month, I'm still on them on the run line and the over, and I can get that run line at plus 110, so they'll kick the Marlins' ass like they do every night.
I like the over in that game as well. I'm with you on the over there in Houston. The Mariners and the Angels are in Anaheim. Luis Castillo goes for Seattle. Jack Kokanowitz is going, Scotty. There we go for him, making his debut for the Angels. Minus 165 for Seattle, plus $1.40 for the Angels, and an 8.5.
Wow, it's crazy. They don't play well on the road, do they? Seattle, that's kind of been their problem. And Castillo hasn't been great this year. I'm going to just throw it out there. They won last night, right? The Angels, they put up 7 runs. I'm going to get $1.48 if the miracle happens. I'll take them. I have no reason whatsoever, but I'll take the Angels to upset Castillo and the road, weary Seattle. They haven't been on the road long, but whenever they are, they don't play well.
They do not play well, that's for sure. The Braves are in Arizona to finish off that series. Last one for us tonight. Max Fried and Brandon Pfaadt, minus 120 for the Braves, even money for the Snakes, and a flat 8.
I got to just bet Atlanta at minus $1.15 with Fried.
Man, why is that so short tonight, though, right? Fried has been excellent. Minus 120. I felt like they'd be a little bit of a bigger favorite than that. I know it's on the road, and Arizona's been playing some good baseball. But, man, that line seems a little fishy to me, Scotty. I could see Fried, though, pitching very well in that game. There you go. Baseball tonight for you. That's the entire slate, abbreviated Thursday night. Full slate tomorrow on a Friday back here on Coast to Coast. All right, I have a lot of college football for you from these Big 12 media days. I'm going to do all that when I come back. I'll slide in, since I've got 1 minute here for you, I will slide in where the odds are right now after one round at the Scottish Open, of course, at the Renaissance Club. We get ready for round 2, which will tee off about 2 a.m. East tonight. And Justin Thomas, who has the clubhouse lead after round number 1, is plus 550. Rory at 6-1. He's 3 back of JT. Ludwig Ober's plus 650. Im is 10-1. Morikawa, Fleetwood, Dietrich, Davis Thompson, who won last week, and Corey Connors also in the 25 to 30-1 range. Lots of guys in the mix here, Scotty. I think anybody still, 3, 4, 5 shots back is absolutely still alive with 3 rounds to go.
Yeah, there's a bunch of foreigners I like on these links courses in Scotland. Rosner, Fitzpatrick, Noren, Rory. I like Oberg. Anybody that's over the pond that grew up playing in these conditions on these types of courses, that's who I'm betting on.
I dropped the ball. I wanted to play a little top 10 and 20 on that Alex Fitzpatrick, Matthew's brother. Of course, he was featured in Full Swing about being the brother of Matt. He's tied for 8th at 5 under. He's playing well here in the Scottish Open.
Right.
It'll be fun to see him win.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Like cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Football to talk about, Carver High.
Certainly is a lot of college football, especially since it is now talking season, as we said yesterday in college football. All the media, conference media days over the next few weeks, and of course the Big 12 has center stage this week. Now, remember yesterday, I played you that Brett Yormark clip, right, about how he wants to, even though they've gotten up to 16 teams, wants to continue to grow even more, wants to get bigger, better, become the best conference in the land. There was a story that came out today, a couple hours ago, that the Big 12 has talked with Florida State and Clemson about joining the conference. Well, man, that would be some heavy hitter gets for Yormark if he's able to bring them into the fold as well, Sky. Now, look, this is, I think, far down the line. We've heard for years these two teams trying to get out of the ACC and all their legal battles that they've had. But I give him credit. He's trying to land a couple more big fish in that conference.
Well, there's no denying that he's doing his job. But my problem with it is, well, first of all, we've all known about Florida State's war with the conference, and Clemson's not that far behind them, right, in terms of their distaste for their own conference. But what I believe will happen is this will ruin the ACC. More than it would help the Big 12, I think it would be, frankly, like the Pac-12, the end of the ACC. I mean, literally. Like, what's the point? If they lose Florida State and Clemson in the ACC, they might as well kiss it goodbye. I mean, who are they going to replace them with? I mean, I think already, like, they've destroyed college football, to be honest with you, with some of these changes. I don't mind the 12-team playoff. I do mind all the West Coast teams going to the Big Ten. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Those kids are going to get hit hard with that travel. I don't care what they say. They're going to try to make it friendly. You can't make it friendly. How do you make flying 6 hours friendly? Okay? It's hard. It's going to be hard on anybody. It's hard on me, hard on you, hard on anybody, hard on those kids. And then they got school and everything else. Oh, I forgot. Excuse me. No one that plays college football goes to class. Forget I even said that. Don't worry about college in the midst of all this. But they will ruin the ACC. That'll ruin the conference. It'll help the Big 12, but it'll ruin the ACC. It'll be disbanded.
Remember, Academics come first, Scotty. Academics are what drive college athletics. That is the most important thing. Do not ever listen to them. Athletics don't matter. Academics is the top of the list when it comes to these kids.
Yeah, my son's getting straight A's. I'll tell you what his priorities are: weed, women, pizza, credit card, being able to ride his skateboard to class, and then go surfing. Class. What is class? You know what college is? It's a way for the schools to suck money out of the rich. And then let's just face facts, the politicians now, anybody that doesn't have money, they just don't make them pay their loans back. Right? I'm right, aren't I? Everyone that doesn't have money gets to go to college free now. If you have money, they just fleece you.
Pretty much. That summed it up for me. Colorado is one of the new teams in the Big 12 this year. Of course, them and Utah coming over, and Arizona State coming over from the now basically disbanded Pac-12. Deion Sanders on display yesterday in Vegas at Allegiant. Here he is, Scotty, saying he is judged on a different scale from other coaches. Here's Deion.
Yes, I'm judged on a different scale. My wins are totally different than your wins. Your wins, you just judge in football. That's why I have to start out and give you education and academics and so forth. I have to give you those things so you understand there's a greater scope. I can't win 9 games and our GPA suffers. Our GPA can't be high, but we lose another 8 games. We can't not go and grab high school players and you got a bunch of guys in the portal, out of the portal that's getting incarcerated. My wins are different. We have to win in every area. That's the way we're judged. And I'm cool with that because we come a little different. So the expectation is greater. But it's not just football. It's been like that all my life. I've always had a greater expectation for myself.
Well, you know what? That's great. And, I have nothing against Deion Sanders. I thought he was brilliant as a player from college through the NFL. Now, as a coach, he chose to leave Jackson State or whatever, and he chose to go to Colorado, and he brought his sons with him and anyone else he wanted, he got to play for that team, and all they did was lose. That's it. They lost. So I don't want to hear about how great he is. You know what he's good at? He's good at bullshacking, okay, and selling things. He might as well have a car dealership on campus. He'd sell tons of cars. I mean, you remember last year he was selling sunglasses to anyone. Even Lee Corso bought a pair. I mean, honestly, he's 105 and they gave him a pair. Everybody was wearing the sunglasses and buying his shtick. And then the bottom line was they didn't win. And then I hear that both of his kids he thinks are going to go in the top 10 in the draft.
Yeah.
And then, but why don't we talk about his son who's bankrupt?
Let's quickly hear from the son.
How are you bankrupt and you're playing college football? Explain that to me.
Here's Shador saying that, of course, he's a Heisman favorite, saying that Colorado will be everyone's Super Bowl this year.
Sure.
They've been there since day one. I remember first media day when I was in HBCU, I said, well, we won't lose a game. I'm undefeated in the SWAC, so I already know what the expectation comes with. I know where everybody's Super Bowl, so I'm really just, I always stay level-headed, stay grounded because I would never want to be that guy, look back, and not being able to take advantage of the moment that we have right now.
Well, everyone's Super Bowl, you mean, how about everyone's chance to have a W on their schedule? When you play them, you win. You beat Colorado. It's just another game and a win. Super Bowl. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is the same bullshit I've been listening to about this Bronny James. They're trying to sell me this crappy Colorado football team. They sucked in the Pac-12. They're going to suck in the Big 12. Know that. And Bronny does suck already.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is Canada. You know, Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
How about that 25% PGA odds boost token? Account holders at BetMGM are going to receive a 25% PGA odds boost token to use on a golf straight bet when they opt into the promotion. Check it out at the BetMGM app or BetMGM.com for full details. Either way, get on Carver High's golf prop bets and use one of them boost tokens and see how much money you can make this weekend.
Yeah, we were saying before, there's lots of guys very much in the mix at that Scottish Open with some pretty good odds for a few of them, that's for sure. All right, let me finish off a few things with the Big 12. Utah is also moving into the Big 12 this year, Scotty, and they are moving in as the odds-on favorite, which I will show you in a moment. It also helps that they have a quarterback who's basically 35 years old and has been in college football for 15 years, in Cam Rising. I can't believe he's still in college football, Scotty, that Cam Rising. But yes, he's going to be back at Utah this year. Here's their coach, Kyle Whittingham, 64 years old now, moving into another new conference. He's been through quite a few of these.
Although when we went to the Big 12 or the Pac-12, we were a G5 school trying to come up a level, which there was a little bit of a curve there that we had to endure. This is actually the 4th conference I've been in since I've been at Utah. We were in the WAC, then the Mountain West, and the Pac-12, now the Big 12. So nothing new for me personally as far as changing leagues. But we feel like we've got a roster that's equipped to compete right away. Obviously, I guess the media feels the same way, being picked as the favorite. And I think that's a show of respect to our players and coaches that have done a great job competing through the years that the media has selected as number one. But in the final analysis, that doesn't mean anything. Obviously, you got to play the games, and our players are fully aware of that. But again, it's a nice show of respect for our program from the media.
Yeah, he's a really good coach, and who knows how long he's going to coach. They've already named his replacement, like you said, Carver High, which I find always strange to me when they do that, and you don't know, when or how that's going to come about, but it is what it is. Look, as far as them being the favorites, fair enough. And I get the Utah respecting, and they win a lot, and they got the quarterback back and all the rest. But he's been injured so much, I don't trust him as far as you can spit. And I also don't believe there's such a thing as a favorite in the Big 12. You saw Sermonello's on Oklahoma State. Those are long odds in their own right. I don't think they're actually winning the Big 12 either. And I'll go back to what I said. Colorado's not doing it. I can see why Utah is favored, but I just think the conference is so intense and insane and so good and so deep and so challenging. And it's so hard week to week. And when they get to conference play and have to play these monsters every single week, it's going to be a nightmare for everybody. I don't put stock in anyone being favored in that conference at all.
No, and that's why it is so close at the top. I mean, you look at the board here that I have for you. Now, Utah was favored yesterday. Now it's actually co-favored with Kansas State. They're both plus 350 right now as we sit here today. Oak State up to 7-1. Kansas, UCF, Iowa State, Texas Tech. I'll tell you who I like. I like Arizona, Scotty, at 14-1. I know the coach skipped town and he took the Washington job, that Fish, but he thought the kids were going to go with him and they didn't. They all stayed back. They're kind of rallying around it. They had a real good team last year. That Fafita, the quarterback's pretty good. I think that's a nice long shot pick at 14-1 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, why not? They all stayed in Tucson and said, "You're going to screw us. We're going to screw you. We can both play that game, and maybe they will be good."
But it's like you said, like you could take all these teams, in the 7-20 range. Like the conference is going to be so competitive. You're telling me one or two of them aren't going to end up in the Big 12 title game somehow? I think it's very possible with how competitive the conference is going to be. There's so many teams now. Nobody's playing the same schedule. You could easily get a Texas Tech, an Iowa State, an Arizona, a TCU playing in that conference game. So I think the Big 12 is going to be a lot of fun now that it's added all those teams. I don't think they have teams, Scotty, and you'll probably agree with me. I don't think they have that one or two top-heavy teams that's going to compete in the playoff with the SEC, like an Alabama, an LSU, or an Ohio State. I don't think they have those teams, but I think they have a really fun conference.
Look, I won't deny that they're not on that top tier, but they're on the second and third floor down, right, from the penthouse. So anything's possible in a football game, and all those teams in the Big 12 are going to be tough, and they're going to play big, tough games all season long and be ready for that playoff. I'll tell you that much.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is Canada. Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played two matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Adam Kaplan is our NFL insider. Almost 3 decades covering the NFL. You can follow him on X for free at Kaplan NFL. He's on Coast to Coast regularly, just the way it ought to be. And that's all year long because the NFL is open for business 365, baby. All right, Adam, today the Titans signed Jamal Adams. I have to tell you, I'm not buying that, and I'll believe it when I see it. And I'll even say this. I wouldn't be surprised he doesn't even make the team.
Yeah, in fact, he's made a ton of money. So let's pick it up what you just talked about and why he's not the player he once was. With the Jets, he was their tone setter. He's a box safety. He's not good in coverage, but when he's at his best, he's physical. He sets the tone. He's an intimidator. You could blitz him. He's a great blitzer. He's had a bunch of sacks in his career. You also, by the way, as I understand, has played linebacker before, more of an inside backer in a 34 front. And by the way, that's what the Titans run. Now, the Titans were looking for depth and competition of strong safety, which he could play. That's what he's played his entire career. Again, he could play a little bit of linebacker. And also, when they go what's called big nickel, their 3 safety alignment, he could be there in that position. They're not very good at safety. That's a position they needed. Scott, you and I have talked about the Titans. They spent a ton of money in free agency. That's not what this move is about. This is not a money issue here. This is a veteran who's 28 years old, but the problem that you have is he has not played well since the 2020 season. It did not work out. That trade that the Seahawks made with the Titans didn't work out. Adams suffered a torn quadriceps. It was a bad injury. He's never been the same. He was on IR 21, 22, and 23. But again, it's a veteran team that's gotten younger. They're mixing some veterans in this offseason. And look, Scott, they had a bad roster last season. Let's call it like it is. That's why they had the biggest free agent spending spree in the history of the franchise. They're looking to compete in that division that's been highly competitive. Surprisingly, the AFC South.
Yeah, I don't buy that he could stay healthy for 5 minutes. I mean, his body has broken down like nobody's business. That's all there is to it. He hasn't literally played in 4 years. I mean, he's done absolutely nothing. That's like that signing is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Now, I will keel over if that guy ends up being healthy and having a big season. I don't deny that he was great once, but it has been so long since he's played football. It's not even funny. All right, let's talk about the NFC West. We've been doing pre-training camp breakdowns of all the divisions. Let's start with the Niners.
Yeah, and talking to people around the league, everybody sees this team as the NFL's best. It's incredible, but right now it looks like the Niners are going to bring back all 11 starters on offense. Now, that includes Brandon Ayuk, who wants his new deal. We'll see over the next 2 weeks where they can get that extension. The Niners have made it clear they want him there. They've tried to get an extension done. They're not close. Let's see what happens as they get closer to training camp. But this is a big year, by the way, for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy could get his contract extended as soon as after this season is completed, where he'll have played 3 seasons. He's clearly their guy. What a great story of development. Really, when you look at it, it's defensively in the secondary. They're not great at corner opposite Shavarius Ward. Great front. They play that wide 9 where the ends play out there and they get upfield. Nick Bosa's phenomenal. Best linebacker group in the National Football League. This is the NFL's best roster. By the way, their win total of 10.5 wins. If you want them, it's going to cost you. Over 10.5 is minus 185. The under is plus 145. And win that division, they're minus 200. And they are the clear favorite of all 8 divisions. They're the one where I look at it and go, you know what? They're pretty much a lock to win that division at minus 200.
Famous last words. And then they're what? Favored to win the Super Bowl too? Or is it the Chiefs still?
Yeah, the Chiefs are by a little bit. But, of course, the last time I said that was the Jaguars that bit me and you know what in the second half of last season. But, you know, the Rams, by the way, let's look at the Rams here. They lose Aaron Donald. Their win total will reflect that, 8.5. The over is minus 155. The under's plus 130 to win the division, plus 325. The strength of their offense, and this is interesting, their interior of their offensive line's been completely revamped. It looks really, really good. Protection's going to be fine. That's not the issue. The issue was on defense. They lose Aaron Donald to his retirement. The secondary, not great. I worry about that. You worry about the pass rush. Kobe Turner as that other defensive tackle who's terrific, who had a breakout season as a rookie. They added Braden Fisk early in the draft here as a defensive tackle. And also, I like Jared Verse, who's a good, pretty strong pass rusher. But again, they lose Donald. They're not winning that division. And I would agree with that 8.5 wins here. I think they're an 8 to 9 win team there, and they probably will not make the playoffs.
I've actually heard some people suggest that Stafford could win the MVP.
Well, they're loaded. When you look at their offense, all their receivers are back. That's not the problem. The problem isn't on defense. I just don't think they're going to be good enough. And Stafford, by the way, he wants a contract adjustment. They're not there yet, but again, they can get that done closer to training camp. And then you got Seattle, the Pete Carroll era. Remember now, he was the head coach starting in 2010 with John Schneider as the GM. Schneider now has personnel control, and now they brought in really not only a brand new staff, new offensive, defensive schemes. Ryan Grubb is their offensive coordinator. He came from the University of Washington, so they knew him. He's going to have more spread concepts. They're going to change their philosophy. This will not be a run-first offense. They're going to spread things out there. They're going to have they're going to be more thought processed here. It's not going to be run the ball. They're going to be a little bit more aggressive. The problem is on defense, Scott, and it's the reason why they're not going to be a playoff team to me. Not great at inside backer, but the big thing is they don't have a good enough pass rush. And their win total of 7.5, I actually like the under, which is plus 155. The over is minus 140.
So McDonald was such a great coach in Baltimore with D. Do you think he can coach them up defensively? You said that that's their weak point.
Yeah, I just don't think the talent level is going to be good enough. Now, he's a terrific young coach, 36 years old. He did a phenomenal job. He's going to bring his defense in there. Now, it's going to take time. You can't solve every issue. As John Lynch told me years ago, he actually has it in his office laminated. You can't solve every issue in one off season, so it's going to take time. Offensively, it's not going to be the problem. It's defense. And now I know with his scheme, McDonald's scheme, it'll help. I don't see them being a playoff team this season at all.
All right, Arizona.
Boy, you and I talked about this. 10 draft picks. Everybody loves their draft. Look, they weren't a very good team last season. Kyler Murray came back late, actually looked good, had that great win in Philly. This is going to be a run-based offense. They're running the Kevin Stefanski offense under Drew Petzing, who was Stefanski's right-hand man with the Browns. They also worked together in Cleveland, and Petzing did a good job with their offense last season. Start with James Conner in the run game. Watch Trey Benson, the rookie out of Florida State. He'll be his backup. He'll be a future starter there. Now, the problem, Scott, is on defense. Lack of a pass rush. Not very good in the secondary. They're a long ways away from being a playoff team, but they're one of these teams, if you don't take them seriously, you're going to be in for it. As I mentioned, in Philly, the Cardinals beat the Eagles. That was a really bad loss for the Eagles when they were in midst of that, losing 6 out of 7 games. But they'll be competitive under Jonathan Gannon. They fight hard, and by the way, their win total is 6.5. The over is minus 160. That tells you people think it's going to go over. The under's plus 135. And win that division, they're plus 1,200.
Well, what would happen if Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. start hooking up every single week and they stun everyone and go over that win total and turn into something? Their defense might suck, but who cares if you're scoring all kinds of touchdowns?
And they're going to have to watch Trey McBride, the tight end, and the aforementioned Marvin Harrison Jr., who's going to be probably my pick for Offensive Rookie of the Year, who's phenomenal. They're not very deep, by the way, at wide receiver. They're more of a 12 personnel team, a lot of 2 tight ends and 2 receivers, but they will be fun to watch. They're not going to be a playoff team. Someone's going to come out of nowhere, by the way, in the NFC. It's probably going to be Washington who's going to push for a wild card spot, but it's not going to be the Cardinals.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm sick and tired of the Chiefs and Niners. I'm sick and tired of them. So, I'll take anyone besides them again. The same 2 teams every year. I'm sick and tired of it. Honestly, I can't take it anymore. In fact, I talked to a guy yesterday who said that he's just excited to see how much Patrick Queen hates the Ravens. And when the Steelers and Ravens hook up, that's a war.
There you go.
Great stuff as always. Thank you.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is Canada. Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Man, I got to talk to my boy Colhan Casey, Carver High, about all this craziness down in Athens, Georgia, with these football players getting popped for Deweys and reckless driving. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, is the Popo like out to get them? Like, I mean, I know it's a small town down there with a big school in the middle of it, but what is going on? It's crazy.
It really is. And I know we usually do like the police blotter type stuff at the end of the show, but like Georgia, unfortunately for them, like they need their own section in the show. I mean, it's been so bad. So 2 more Georgia football players, these kids Mondon and Hewley, both arrested for reckless driving. These are 2 separate incidents, by the way, Sky. They were not together. 2 separate incidents, both arrested for reckless driving. Since the start of last year, the start of 2023, 20 people associated with Georgia's football program have been arrested since the start of 2023. 20! And I feel like half of them are for this reckless driving. And of course, you had the tragedy that happened with the kid last year as well that got killed. Just awful stuff. And then the ATN's DUI charges were dropped in a plea deal. You have the particulars on that. Yeah, he basically got off with nothing, right?
Okay, so he got popped for a DUI, and then by the time the lawyer was done with them, and if you're, honestly, my buddy's really good at it. He gets people like they weren't even driving the car by the time he's done with them in the courtroom. This guy went from a DUI to reckless driving and possession of alcohol. Well, what does that sound like to you? That the guy was speeding and he was drinking in his car, or what was he? Driving home from the liquor store with a 12-pack, driving 100 to get back to the dorm. I just don't believe it. I believe he was drunk driving, and I believe a great DUI lawyer got him off to a reckless with a possession charge as opposed to having a DUI charge, and that probably cost him $10,000 to get out of that mess. 10 to 15 grand if they get you off for that. Like, you're driving drunk, and then the next thing you know, you're reckless with a 6-pack in the back of the car. I'm not buying that for 1 minute. He just had a great DUI lawyer is what he had. It's real simple. By the time they're done, these lawyers are so good. The cop was driving the car.
next week, this week we had all these Big 12 media things, and next week the SEC is going to be together down in Dallas, right? So Kirby's going to be up there. And I know they went at him at this last year as well. Can somebody please just ask him next week, Scotty, like, you got 20 people arrested in a year and a half. Like, what's the situation here? Are you doing anything about it? Do you care? Is Kirby just going to sit up there and I'm here to talk football? Or is he going to do that? Is that going to be his answer?
He is literally, I read an article the other day that he is the most untouchable coach in all of college sports.
That's wild.
They can't fire him to save their ass, nor would they. And they would have to pay him tons of money. And all he does is win and go to playoff games and title games and wins the SEC and everything else. And this guy, 21 players busted for reckless driving and drunk driving on that campus, people getting killed in car wrecks. He doesn't answer to any of it. He's like, just another day at the office. I'm here to coach football. I don't care about all the crime. I'm looking for 5-star. That's what they get there. Just so you know, their entire team, there's not one guy that isn't 5-star on the whole team. Second of all, it is the hardest school now in the East Coast, literally, to get into. Like, it's got to be top 3 or 4 in the East Coast. Now, look, I'm not talking about Ivy League. That's bad enough. The Ivy League is so demented now. Every single president fired for how they handled the wars and everything else, and plagiarism at Harvard and everything else. Okay, but let's just talk about big schools on the East Coast. Georgia and Florida, in Gainesville and in Athens, 2 of the hardest schools to get into. You literally have to have a 4.0 and a 1,400 on your SAT to even get considered. If you apply there with like a 3.8 and a 1,300, you're not getting in.
It's amazing. It really is what goes on, that's for sure. Arch Manning stayed at Texas because there's nowhere else he wanted to be. Wants to stick it out and play there eventually. All right, whatever. I don't mind that, Scotty, honestly. He wants to play at Texas. You're going to wait another year. That's fine. Guys, it's better than jumping all over the country like most of these kids do.
We'll see if the kid can, the other one stays healthy. Ewers, he's a great quarterback, and they got 2 good ones. So they're a really loaded team. That's like we said this last week or whatever it was. Like, they have a shot, in my opinion, to go into the SEC in their first year and win it.
They and also, and I know we'll get into this a little bit more next week, their schedule is a bear, man. I mean, they would earn every inch of it because they have got a very tough schedule. I have to get to this. Forget Jamal Adams. You did that with Adam. First of all, Bill Belichick's joining the Inside the NFL. I think that's going to be cool, even though nobody's watched the show in 20 years. But have you seen this Joe Shane on the offseason Hard Knocks with the Giants, the general manager? Now, I haven't watched the episodes per se, Scotty, but I've seen all the clips that get floated around of him on the phone with Barkley and him talking to Mara and him doing.
Yeah.
I think you're right. And what you wrote is true. It makes him look real cheesy, Joe Shane. I don't like how he did the thing with Barkley either. I don't think Barkley knew they were recording that. That wasn't right.
Yeah, listen, you summed it up. He's a cheese ball. I mean, this guy, it is watching him handle his job as the general manager of the New York Football Giants. It's laughable. It's funny. He's really kind of cheese-balled out. Like, he's really kind of pathetic at it. Like, his call to Barkley was so phony and so pathetic. It was such a white guy calling a brother up, trying to play cool with him. Like, hey, how's everything going with your off season, bro? Hey, man,
you in Jersey?
What have you been up to? What have you been doing with your free time? Like, are you kidding me? This guy is, he's feta cheese. He is, when I watched him, I was like, how in God's name did this guy get that job? He's like, he's the male organ of the month club. He's a giant, you know what?
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It is Canada. Canada is one of those teams that's the darling of the tournament right now. They're still 9-1.
To win a tournament, or even to advance far into a tournament like this, you need a bit of good fortune. And it doesn't matter if you're getting the good fortune that Canada has, where they played 2 matches where they were up a man, or you had the good fortune of Argentina, who's one of the best teams in the world, who just got on the good side of the draw.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Leftovers.
We do love leftovers here before we get out of here on Coast to Coast. By the way, 5-2, Blue Jays lead the Giants, bottom of the 8th inning in San Francisco. Our last day ball game going right now as the Blue Jays are trying to finish this one off. Roger Goodell says the NFL feels very strongly about their position in the Sunday ticket verdict, which they lost, by the way. He feels very strongly about their position, Scotty, that they were in the right, but the court obviously said
the NFL never loses.
A ton of money, tons of money they're going to shell out for that.
They never lose. I can't believe that they have to give billions out. It's amazing to me, and it's, I think, amazing to him because he knows they never lose, and they still stand by that they did nothing wrong. Like, they never do anything wrong. It's always someone else's fault, and they don't use, like, the police to handle their business. They got their own police, the NFL.
No, he said, we obviously disagree with the jury verdict. We are committed to following the legal process. It's a long process. So everybody who thinks they're going to get checked for $4,000 from the NFL in the next 6 months, that's not going to happen. This is going to be held up in courts probably for a very long time. Dak Prescott says him and the Cowboys have had conversations about an extension. I want to get so sick of that by the time we get to kickoff. I've had enough already with the Dak Prescott and his contract extension, almost as much, Scotty, as hearing about where Brandon Ayuk is going to be next year. I've had about enough of that, too. Every day there's like another little small crumb of information that everyone thinks he's going to Washington, and then the next day he's going to Pittsburgh, and then the next day George Kittle says he's staying in San Francisco. Get it over with already. Get it over with. Like, and figure out where the guy's playing.
Adam thinks he's going back there, too, without provocation. The other thing is, remember this, fans, just for future reference, when it's playoff time, Dak Prescott racks up all the yards all season, wins games, unstoppable, great stats, blah, blah. Playoffs, bet against him. He loses every time.
Certainly does. I wanted to bring this back up with the soccer coach with Berhalter because you and DeCourcy talked about this, and I didn't get to chime in and tell you after. He brought up David Wagner for the job. David Wagner is the guy who coached Huddersfield into the Premier League a few years ago. So I know Wagner very well, Scotty. He's, of course, got United States in him. He played for the team. He's a great motivator and a great tactician. And to take that small little town back to the Premier League for the first time in like 100 years, that's good enough for me. He's coached in big-time soccer. I wouldn't mind if the United States made the call to Wagner. I think that would be very good. Colombia beat Uruguay 1-0 last night, but the real story was the brawl in the stands at Bank of America in Charlotte afterwards with all the Colombia fans and the Uruguay family.
Everyone eventually gets sent to Charlotte.
Yes.
It's Ferrall finished time. Jonte Porter pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He's having a bad day. Alleged Kelly Oubre car accident victim threatening to sue Oubre for all kinds of money for the crash. Vegas gamblers face hours-long waits at the Mirage slots as $1.6 million in giveaways has to happen before the 17th, drawing large crowds down to the Mirage. Old school. Stripper and adult establishments in Florida are suing the state and the governor over the new age restriction. Got to be 21 to be a stripper now in Florida. No abortions. Now you can't have fun at the strip club. You got to be 21. They aren't having it anymore down there. Driver stabs another motorist as road rage incident escalates. My man was having none of the argument, so he pulled out a big old 12-inch blade and started stabbing the guy to death. Texas husband's wife had her dog killed by the husband. He claimed she loved the pooch more than him, and he wasn't having it. It happens all the time. My dog loves me, but he's very loyal to these women. I don't know what his problem is. Gotti family business ordered to clean up toxic chemicals and pay over $200,000 in fines for a scrapyard mess on their hands. A killer mom is preparing to get out of prison, and she's giving phone sex to sugar daddies who want to take care of her. She's already working the phones at the prison, looking for that outside bag to get her hands on so that she can enjoy life when she gets out of the clink. A groom shot in the head during a St. Louis wedding reception in front of the family during an attempted robbery. The groom shot in the head. GTD is next. Go to FerrallOnTheBench.com because it's kick-ass. We'll see you tomorrow at 3 on Coast to Coast.
Technically, despite having the most wins in both the AL and all of Major League Baseball, 52 of them for New York, no longer the best winning percentage.
You expect your front offices to hit that gas pedal when it comes time to get a better team on the field post All-Star break, because the one thing that you know from the Yankees and the Orioles is what, Ben? You're going to fight with each other throughout the stretch here, and you want home field advantage.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You know, this guy is the mad scientist. I mean, he's all about green density. So in my mind, I feel like he's going to have the green speeds dialed in and the angles he needs to land them and all that sort of stuff. I feel like he's going to be a good spot and playing the course well. And he's going to be hitting less club into a lot of these par threes too. So I just, we're talking about using a live guy. I love Bryson this week. I'm riding with Bryson.
Only on SportsGrid.
This new sports integrity partnership, Genius Sports, is involved in this. More protection.
They said that's going to allow them to beef up their protection and add more integrity monitoring tools to essentially catch bad behavior before it happens. This comes, obviously, after a just ton of scandals we've had across sports betting lately, whether it's the MLB umpire, Pat Hobert.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Despite me being a Yankee fan, I think Joe would deserve the label as Aaron Judge's biggest fan, not through any bias, but just through the amount of money that he's made anybody who's been betting on him.
I just had him for that home run, and I'm going to go back to it today. That home run coming in at plus 230. Max Fried here, while he has been strong, this is Aaron Judge.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.